periscope simultaneously. Good evening, everybody. I have Mr. Omoyele Sowore, and we do not need to waste any further time because as for Jack, his time is very busy. So let's just hit the ground running. Good evening, sir. How are you today?
Pretty good. Good evening to every one of your listeners, viewers, and members of your audience. It's great to be
Yes,
here.
thank you, sir. So quickly, the first question that everybody is asking that is trending right now is the question of coalition. People are saying that uh, a movement like yours that has been around since 2019, that you started this political journey, and the new wave that people are asking, oh, Peter Obi, they are looking for the possibility or the likelihood of a coalition that can help to defeat the cabals that everybody is looking to defeat, especially to turn out the question of the political establishment that is oppressive to them. So let me ask. I know that, for instance, it may be difficult that you leave the structure or the party you have been building over the years, especially for which you have been going to court, to go and join a party or to go and collapse into a party that Mr. Obi himself may not yet be sure, because he himself had to leave PDP to go and join Labour Party, and he's also already facing his own issues right now. But if it comes to you, that's my question. If he decides that, okay, uh, the party platform that may be good is yours, for instance, uh, is there a possibility of working together with Mr. Peter Obi?
I'm sorry. Yeah. You said, let me explain to you that this is not new. It's, every political season comes with its own hype, right? In 2018, 2019, the hype was Feladro Toye, Kingsley Mogalo. People will tell you that Kingsley Mogalo's English is so perfect. Oh, you need to be with him. Feladro Toye is so poetic. My goodness, you need to just collapse into his structure. And then we were invited to a meeting and we saw through all the facade and never joined. You know, after joining, after refusing to join the meeting or join their coalition, Obi Ezekwesili, who was the umpire at final coalition election, went and joined the presidential race. Mogalu, who lost, refused to accept defeat. Do you know what they were doing? They were blaming Sowore for the failure of the coalition. And I only attended one meeting of the coalition, one at a hotel in Abuja, and Charlie Boy's house, where I made it clear that I am not ready to join a coalition that is not clear to me. What I'm trying to say to you is that everybody has own hype, right? There was a time it was Ribadu. Everybody was like, wow, Ribadu is fresh from EFCC. He can get everybody. And after Ribadu's election, or non-election, Buhari came. Buhari was a hype, won. But he didn't win because there was hype. It was because Buhari had fanatical supporters that gave him 12 million votes from time to time, and him into a coalition that they set up. But the question you should ask yourself is that what came out of the coalition that brought Buhari to power? Nothing. It was like a curse. It was like a wild wind that was introduced into the country. Are you getting my
Very well,
point?
sir.
I'm taking my time to explain this to you so that people will not say they didn't hear me properly. In 2018, I told people that Feladro Toye Mogalu would not be a problem because I know what it's all about. When they allocated votes to us after the election, they gave me more votes than they gave Feladro Toye Mogalu and Tokwe Fashua, all of them, because they knew that even in allocating the votes, they had to do justice to who did the most work. because I visited 34 states or 35 states across the Federation. I visited over 7 countries, cities across the world to campaign. So at the end, they knew. And when they knew that my situation was such that I posed serious threat to the political establishment, after the election, they came after me, which I predicted in Ibadan. You remember when we went to Ibadan for our
Yes.
first
Yeah.
town hall meeting, that they will come after me. So the current hype is not something that should bother anybody who is consistent. Stand where you are. We founded a political party in 2018. We lost control of the party for 3 years. INEC even suggested to us that since we are not satisfied, leave them alone, they grant us a new political party. We said no. This is our party. It's different in ideology, philosophy, in organic history, passion, and genuinity. We fought 4 years or 3 years since 2019, fought for our party until we got a court judgment last week or a week and a half ago that restored complete control of the party to us. I've never joined a party outside of AAC before. You understand? So why would I be worried about people who are being followed or people who are bullying others to join every day? Oh, you have to join this person. You have to join this person. We saw it during Buhari's time. Where are we today? And when you ask questions, please, this is your candidate. What is his record? Shut up. What are you asking? It's Mr. Peter Obi now. He left 75 billion in the account in his state. Oh, and we said, can you show us a hospital he has ever built that he himself can go and treat headache? Shut up. Don't ask any question. Just join us. Can you show us the school he built for 8 years of international standard? Stop. Just join us. Can you show us the road he built? Shut up. Just join us. So the campaign became a bullet puppet. But that's not going to get anywhere. Some of us already understand this thing too well. I have in my kitty an election, a presidential election of 2019. I gained experience from there. And the experience is very useful today. And I don't have any problem with people who are following Peter Obi, Bola Tinubu, or Atiku. No. But you should also not have problem with those who say to you, we don't believe in your philosophy because of your history and where you are coming from. PDP. 2 weeks later, you are the Labour Party. And so 2 weeks later, all the celebrities are endorsing you, which is fine by me. But celebrities cannot define me. Celebrities don't fight for me. Sometimes they do, but celebrities did not create me. So I will not disappear because of celebrities. Because they are celebrities. They come and go. You look at Bring Back Our Girls. Every celebrity carried the placard. Bring back our girls, bring back our girls. The girls, some of them are still in captivity. The celebrities have moved on because they have short staying power. This is not a fight against celebrities, too. I'm just saying that it's a way, it's way more than just asking people to shut up or this emotional blackmail that, oh, it's because he's Igbo. I mean, who stands up for Igbos more than me? Who stands up for Yorubas more than me? Who stands up for Shiites more than me? So nobody should fall for that. And I don't think it's the position of all Igbos that position. But I'm just saying some of these things are superficial, Look, even if Peter Obi becomes a presidential candidate that wins tomorrow, let's assume he wins, he will still have opponents. There are people who will never agree with him, no matter how even if he wins by 100%. He cannot become an emperor. People will challenge him. There will be people who will not vote for him, there will be people who will vote for him. But the strategy of bullying people to say, you can't talk except you support my candidate, and the strategy of celebrities choosing your leaders for you, celebrities are not the only people in Nigeria. They're not. They have made wrong choices before and they can make it again. But don't let us focus our entire conversation on Peter Obi at all. I see Peter Obi as one of the contestants in this upcoming election, in which there are 17 other contestants, including myself. It includes Bola Tinubu, Peter Obi's leader, Atiku, right? It includes Dumebi and several other people who have been registered that haven't won their primaries. The race has not even started yet. So let's see how it goes. But on our part, and I want to assure that, please don't be scared. We've done this before. We've been able to go past this initial harassment or hiccups. Sometimes we might even doubt if we can make it, because social media has a way of overwhelming people, right? Trending topics have a way of overwhelming people. But those of us I see on my side are people who have been with us, people who are resilient. Look at standing with the party that was hijacked for 3 years. You got to respect those kind of people. AAC was hijacked from us for 3 years by the highest authorities. We stood, we refused to, we did during that period refuse to join PDP or APC. Let me give you a secret. It's not a secret, it's open. You go to my timeline 3 weeks ago. These same people who are now saying you should shut up were saying that only PDP could defeat APC and that only Obi can defeat other candidates in PDP. Obi did not reveal to them that he had been totally skimmed out of PDP. If Obi had coordinated and participated with them in PDP election, he would probably be next to Chief Dele Momodu in terms of scores. Maybe Chief had 0 scores. Maybe Obi will have 2. That was what was going on. He saw it coming. Obi cannot tell you that he didn't know that PDP was corrupt in 2014. I'm aware that he was part of the presidential council for Jonathan. That was the biggest era of recent fraud. Of course, Buhari's own probably has eclipsed it. But at that point, barrel of oil was selling for $140 per barrel. There was money. Peter Obi was there. He didn't refuse that. And like I said in one of my broadcasts, if Peter Obi can convince you that he wasn't part of the thieves, he was right there on the crime scene. 2015, 2014, he joined PDP in 2014, 2015. Then he was vice president to Atiku in 2018, 2019. Atiku is very well known. He has an unbreakable record of being a corrupt human being. You are his vice president. You didn't see corruption at that time. Now, suddenly, 2022, you woke up and said, I can't believe this party has been this bad. But you were part of the party for close to or more than 7 years. So I am not just saying this to badmouth him, as people would try to blackmail us or blackmail someone. I'm just giving you facts and figures. But on the ideological side of things, we don't belong in the same group. Peter Obi believes in mercantilism, making profits, and not caring about people. Capitalism of the criminal type. I am opposed to that. I believe in welfareism, that the people deserve to enjoy from the resources of the state. Peter Obi believes that the rich should get richer and the poor could get poorer. I believe that there should be equitable sharing of our resources. Peter Obi doesn't believe that there should be subsidy or support for people who may not be able to make it. I believe that people who are not so well advantaged should be supported. Peter Obi has never stood up for anybody that I know. When young people were rising in the 90s to fight against democracy, Peter Obi was not part of them. He was pursuing wealth, right? So you could never
Okay,
have
so
seen that Peter Obi was part of a protest in 1990 or 1992 or 1993 when Abiola won election, because he didn't come from that era. He did not participate even in recent NSAS. They said he sent a tweet. I was like, wow, that's beautiful. But it wasn't a matter of tweeting. We needed to stand up. So I could go on and on to just explain. This explanation is meant for our people who may be shaky, and is meant for their people who might be aggressive. There's nothing wrong with what you are doing, but there's also nothing wrong with where we stand. And let me be clear, there's nobody on our side of the spectrum having a conversation about collapsing structures into his campaign. It doesn't mean he cannot win, but it also doesn't mean that we cannot win. It is not, about noise. It's about facts. It's about conviction. It's about philosophy. It's about ideology. And it's about character. So we are not going to go into the other details for now. But I want to say one thing for those who might be listening, right? Those whom I want to know, I spent part of my activist life defending Peter Obi when the election was stolen from him by Christine Gige and Andy Uba in Anambra State. I think it was around 2007 or so. When he was impeached unjustly, I supported and followed him. In fact, recently when his store or supermarket got burnt in Abuja, I went there physically to witness it and call for help to make sure that the place was not completely burnt. Of course, the Nigerian system didn't help. Just to show to you that it's not personal, I did those for him, but you cannot find anywhere. And before you turn it around and say that that's why I'm angry, it's not. I'm making comparisons. You can't find anywhere where Peter B tweeted on behalf of myself when I was unjustly detained. Never. He didn't call for my release that I know of anywhere, either in a press release or Twitter or Instagram or WhatsApp messages. No, never. Because that's not the nature of those kind of people. They work for things when it works for them. When it doesn't, they disappear. So I categorize him as the rest of our opponents, Bola Tinubu, Atiku, and several others that might come up. I just want you guys to be clear about where I stand. No, I'm not going to stop, anybody from expressing themselves. But I want those who might be doubtful to stand with us, because what we need now is the liberation of the Nigerian people and not the lobotomization of our people. That is this mass hysteria that just takes away your brain momentarily.
oh, we have little internet trouble
Stand where
there.
you need to stand.
Okay, I think a call came into this one.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. All right.
Okay, yeah. So
So that's why I've spoken for too long.
yeah, so many people are asking, why are you not channeling your energy into your own campaign? Why do you find it easy to always attack other opponents instead of just talking about your own programs and manifesto?
Over every ground. Apart from telling you what I can do, I have a duty to tell you what our opponents can do and cannot do, because I happen to know them a little bit more than people do. So there's nothing wrong about that. If we go to a US debate where we borrowed our democracy from, people attack themselves. They make revelations live. You can't take it back, and you can't sue them for it. So there's no his opponents. But they changed strategy last week. He was insulting everybody who was running in APC. But strategically, let me show you this style, because strategically, the moment Article 1, they call themselves to order, not to attack anybody anymore, because they know that Articles people have receipts. If you push them too far, they might put out, I don't know what they have and what they don't have. So you discover that they stop fighting Article. They don't attack Article a lot, but they attack other people. You understand? Because that is where that's their traditional space, which is the PDP. That's where Peter Obi is coming from. If Peter Obi becomes the president of Nigeria today, his cabinet will be made up of PDP people, because that's mostly the people he knows. Those are the people who are his traditional friends. He's been with them for the longest time. And that's most likely the place where he will come from or
Now
call
after the now
his
after the party
cabinet.
primaries, after the party
Yes.
primaries, the next thing that a lot of people, especially the candidates, are just looking for now is they are already in a search for who will be their running mates. Now, Tinubu has started his own search. Atiku Island is also looking going to east. People also want to know. The last time when you contested, it was one person from the north. We never heard about him. Afterward, people are asking this time who is going to be running it. Some people suggested Aisha Isufu. I don't know if you contemplated that at any point in time. Uh, where are you likely going this time?
The suggestions are all welcome. Like every other presidential hopeful, we're in search of a VP, and we'll make them available. We'll make the person available when we find one, but we're actively searching as well.
Okay, so let's talk about funding. From the last time you attempted it, it wasn't you weren't able to raise so much because the party was registered a little late, and then you also started the campaign a little late than others who have been preparing it about 4 years before you joined. Now, if you want to run from experience, if you want to run a campaign like this to become president in Nigeria, without having to even bribe voters, what do you think is the estimate somebody would need? I mean, a good budget that can handle uh, campaign and other logistics on election day.
I didn't hear you. I think there's a network problem.
Okay, yes. Again, I was asking that from experience, what would you estimate as a fair budget for somebody who wants to contest for president in Nigeria without even having to bribe voters at all?
I cannot say exactly how much, but I know that if you have ideas, if you have people's trust, you spend less. It is people who have no legitimacy with the people who spend a lot of money because you have to bribe your way through at every turn of the race. So, but for me, in 2018, 2019, we raised over almost 200 million or thereabouts.
You think
And
that would be enough
no, of course we need
to run
more.
effective?
There's no question about it that you need more money. But money, the cash part of campaigning is not the biggest issue. If you accept it, people will spend their own money on your behalf. They will organize on your behalf. They will do a lot of things on your behalf. So you won't need to spend so much, because the good thing about a candidate like me is that the people know you are not a thief, that you didn't steal. So, and they trust you enough. They throw in money, they throw cash, they also throw kind, or plenty of kindness. And I enjoyed that. I mean, traveling abroad during that period campaigning, I stayed in hotels, people's houses. Everybody brought food. They gave whatever they could, and I move on to the next city. And that's what happened across Nigeria as well. But the moment people know you are a thief, they feel entitled and they want to collect their own portion out of what you're stealing.
Okay, now from the last APC primary that everybody saw, it was from the way people commented, it's like delegates got serious dollar largesse. And what do you think the general election will be like? Do you have confidence that people will not vote for money this time in the general election?
No, we don't know what to expect in any election because elections happen. There are a lot of variables that determine the outcome of an election, and money is not the only thing. In the middle of an election, an event could happen that will change the course of an election that is about to happen.
Hmm. Network issue.
That this vote will be the factor that will determine the election or the outcome of the election. But what the traditional politicians believe in is that only one factor loads into the outcome of an election. Is money, thuggery, connections with security agencies, and manipulation and buying over of INEC officials. But I'm saying when consciousness is rising, as we have now in a country like Nigeria, anything can happen. Anything can
Do you
happen.
have confidence that INEC is going to or likely to conduct a free and fair election? I mean, you called for revolution the last time because you weren't satisfied with the conduct of the election. Are you now satisfied that you want to run again? That, or do you now have confidence that you want to run again? That INEC will likely conduct a
If
free
I
and fair
was
election?
satisfied, I wouldn't be running, perhaps. Of course, I'm not satisfied. I still believe that Nigeria needs a revolution that
Hmm.
load high to get to that point are some of the things we are participating in now. The French Revolution took 10 years of planning, not planning, and a number of circumstances surrounding it to become a full fledged revolution. The same thing after 100 years, there was an attempt to reverse against the revolution. There was another revolution. So I'm not satisfied with Nigeria, but there are paths that you choose in the course of doing it that have to be determined by situational variables. Situation that I've always believed in is democracy, non-violence, protest against the state, elections. I go to court, even though most of the times I don't believe in the judicial system. But I go to court because going to court also tests the validity of the conscience of the courts. So that is who I am. I'm just not going to say to you that I am conferring legitimacy on the elections by participating in it. It might be that I'm participating in it so that I will know that it's fake. And I'll show it to you. And
Hmm.
that will lead to other things,
Oh.
solution to their problems. And then that after that, they determine what next course of action to take. So it's not a one size fit all attitude to solving Nigeria's problem. That is why people like us don't go away after elections. When elections are over, we're still around. And you know that since 2019, I've been around. Done revolution. I've been part of NSAS. Probably, as I tell people, I started NSAS in Abuja. I've taken it to police headquarters. I've done several other protests after that. I've been in and out of courtrooms, both facing litigation on criminal matters for offenses I didn't commit and civil matters. So it is a fluid and dynamic situation, and I'm a dynamic person. I don't stay and say, well, when it's 4 years again and they ring the bell, I go back to the faith. No, I'm around. Whatever it takes. It's just like Malcolm X said, whatever is necessary.
Hmm. So let's talk about the answers you just mentioned now. Were there gains politically from that uprising, that major, protests across the country? Because I understand many people said they were tired. They used the platform of the answers to come out, express themselves, and then a lot of people thought, well, it was going to have impact on the next election. Like people were tired, and suddenly we started seeing most of the people who participated again already back to campaigning for candidates in PDP and APC. But for you, would you say at least were there gains from the NSAS protests
Look at
politically?
in every political uprising, there are tangibles and intangibles. You can't even measure the gains. I'll give you one, for example. After NSAS, I was arrested in January of 2021, and I was put in a place called Abattoir in um, in Abuja.
Abuja,
It
yes.
was practically where they slaughter people who are arrested for different offenses. Even if they don't kill you, they'll shoot you, you have an injury, or you die of hunger or starvation. During NSAS, that cell used to contain maybe 50 people, but it has 700 people in there, and people were stacked upon themselves. Massive abuse, extrajudicial killings. NSAS brought support to a lot of people who are still alive today. They were released unconditionally, a lot of people. By the time I was detained there were only 73 people. And by the time I was leaving, they released 40 people because they don't want me to go and say that what I saw there. So how can you say that that didn't bring any gains? But the part that people may also be looking at, that even the political excitement you're seeing now, consciousness you're seeing now, came from that period. Because NSAS was the first time children of democracy participated in political uprising. People who were born in 1999, some of them have never participated in a protest before. They came and participated and they saw, wow, there's power in this. And this has to be forever as a reference point for resistance. There are people who did what they call a Limos Go in the 70s, late 70s. Some of our parents are still talking about it. Even people who didn't participate in it knew about Alimos Go. There
And felt
was
the
June
impact
12th
even years after.
uprising.
Yes.
So, were it not be the resistance during June 12th, we probably don't have democracy today.
Mm.
If there hasn't been resistance, Buhari, Babangida would have continued. Abacha would have continued, Buhari didn't continue. Because he was on the verge of winning a 5-year election. And who knew what he would have done to Nigeria's democracy? So, in those days when we protested as students, government will they will increase salaries of policemen who even shoot at us. They give buses
Mm.
to workers, and that's how the workers' transit system started. Protests like, anti-SAP riots, Babangida must go. I can count, a lot of these things, but people just think that the moment there's no instantaneous result from resistance, it's not what it is. It doesn't work like that.
Interesting. So let's talk about your, you just the appeal courts just reinstated you as the substantive chairman of the AAC, African Action Congress. But while the issue was still lingering, the other faction already went ahead to self aspirants, and people already said, I heard they already conducted their primaries for some of them. Now some of them are looking to recollapse back into the authentic leadership. Is there any mechanism in place to reunite people who genuinely want to contest on a platform but were misled or wish the update from courts?
The process for joining the party is very clear. You go and join, and in fact, let me start by saying that during INEC request for parties to submit party membership, you can't believe that it was only a party that had authentic, clean membership submitted to INEC. They are hiding it. APC could not provide because they don't have a centralized or properly done membership. They don't even have membership register. PDP couldn't provide. We provided, we provided, party membership information to them. They couldn't believe it when they saw it. So people are entitled to join the party, and the party will not throw anybody away. But what the party doesn't do is to become an orphanage for politicians who have lost relevance. If you just left APC last week and you are looking for a place to contest and you come to AAC, AAC will not accept you. It doesn't make sense. It's just crass opportunism, because there are people who have been there since 4 years ago. They stood by the party. Some of the people who want to join the party don't even know the name of the party. They will say to us, we went to INEC and we couldn't get a ticket from APC. And INEC was pointing to them which parties still don't have, position,
Candidates.
don't have candidates. And they just rush around. When you ask them, do you know the name of this party? They said, INEC only gave us the number. They didn't really tell us the real name. So they don't know the party's website, they don't know the party's ideology. It doesn't make sense. Logical sense to just allow people who are looking for platforms where they want to contest, who don't know about the party, who don't respect the party, to just be use the party, and then when they are done, they just abandon the party like paper towel. The same thing, I'll tell you, these are the kind of people that brings problem to the party, because when they can't have their way, they do whatever they can to either hijack the party or cause confusion in the party. So we are a very well disciplined party. We will never stop anybody from joining the party, but it will be a mistake to just wake up one day because you lost from PDP and you went to INEC complaining. INEC tells you, oh, there are still some parties that have open space. Just go there. One guy contacted me this evening and said, I was screened out of a party as a governorship candidate in one state, right? I said, can I buy the governorship form of a party? And I had to tell the guy, I said, we don't sell governorship forms. In the first place, our forms are free, but we have a donation clause so that we can run the party. But it doesn't matter how much you bring to us. We're not about money. The forms that obtaining form is free. You don't need to give us anything, and we don't have party leaders who collect roja or bribes to put you in. But we have taken a decision not to allow people to use our party for just the purpose of fulfilling their ambition and then abandoning the party because they don't even know the party.
So specifically, there are cases of persons who were with Leonard before the court, update. So some of them already purchased form, and now that INEC has updated that you are the authentic chairman, to now come back to the authentic leadership. Is there something to reconcile them or to bring them or absorb them back into?
We set up a committee in the party to retrieve all party properties because it's the property of the party and monies. And whenever we recover the monies, we'll pay them back whatever they pay to the party. That's our commitment to justice. We don't believe that anybody should be scammed. And part of the reason why they are holding some of these illegal primaries is they want to give impression to the people they scammed that they can get that an election has been conducted, and then they'll keep promising them we're trying to see how we can go around it. And when it doesn't happen, they say, oh, you can't blame us. Blame Sowore because he's the one who didn't allow us to upload your party forms. The other thing is that most people who went on their side, they were adequately warned. You know this, Shegun, we issue releases all the time, warning people since 2019 that these guys are usurpers. Don't follow them. Don't give them your money. If you're educated enough to run for office, you should know which parties have credibility problems and those who don't. Let me tell you a story. It's not a long story. The party presidential slot was first offered to Al Mustafa, Abacha's former CSO.
Yes.
I heard he did his own research and discovered that the party has something to do with me. He ran away. So then I don't want to go to a party that has Sowore. We know what they did to us when they were students. I'm sure he will not agree to let me run on his platform. He went and bought the form of another party called AA.
AA, yes.
And he was, at his age, he was smart enough not to fall for this. So you don't expect us to now accept people who knowingly walked into the trap of these scammers and usurpers of the party. But what we do as legitimate and conscientious citizens and party leaders is to make sure we retrieve their monies, if possible, and give them back whatever they contributed or no matter what they used for buying the forms. Because a lot of people honestly have cried to us. But you don't expect us to just accept people who were involved with illegitimate operators and also transfer them over as assets when in fact they're liabilities.
Interesting. Thank you so much, Mr. Omoyele, for taking time to come on this show tonight to clarify some of the issues that require clarification. As we go as events unfold and as more questions arise, we'll still continue to talk about them. Thank you so much for your time again. Thank
Thank you very
you for
much, and
joining.
hope to talk
So
to
at
you again.
questions, I say again, sir.
I said I do, I
Hope
do,
to
I do regular broadcasts. I think again by tomorrow I will be on a live audio broadcast on Facebook. I've been doing it for 5 weeks now, so most likely we'll do one tomorrow. It's been a tough week because we had to do the primaries, and now we have to work with INEC to, put in place legitimate party officials in states where they were displaced or they had become despondent, so that we can have the spread needed to make impact this time. And I want to say that all those who are following us or who are not following should please continue to stay and stand where they are. You can count on us that will never disappoint you. It is not a celebrity issue. It is not a social media bullying issue. We just happen to be different from these other people who have become candidates. Like we said at our convention, if they have elected their thieves, we have a duty to elect our own sheriff because we got to keep the thieves in check. So don't don't move because you are overwhelmed. All these things will be resolved by ideas. We are going to get to a point where we have to debate ourselves. So nobody will be able to rely on anecdotes. You have to explain who you are. And then, by the way, we are the only political party and presidential candidates who you can find, whose blueprints you can find online, whose accounts you can, even the accounting that we've done since I started running, we've made 1 month available already. Our opponents can't provide any of these things. I heard some of them are still preparing it, and we already started elections. So please don't worry. Follow us with your eyes open. As they say here, follow person we know road, but not be the only person we know road, person we get courage to stand up. Because you get to a point where this thing will get a little messier than this. Because the old guards will not want to be defeated and they will deploy that mess. So that's where you are going to really want to have a leader like me, because I have stood up against all these people using protests, uh, both physical, online and offline protests. I've used reporting to expose their shenanigans. No one of the major candidates now have not had an encounter resistance. I'll tell you that. Even including Peter Obi, I've assisted him before. And when I saw he was derailing as governor, we were protesting against him. And I'll reveal a secret to you about him today. I think in 2012 or thereabout, when he was governor, and we discovered he wasn't what he claimed to be. We started a lot of exposés on his government. He will build hospitals as substandard and present them as a big deal. And Peter Obi got upset. He got upset. Contrary to what people tell you that he doesn't get upset, he's very, very manipulative person. He had some of the most vicious special advisors on media. There's one guy called Valentine OBM. They went and printed posters in Anambra State accusing me of being gay with Okendebe, who was our columnist at that time. They pasted it all over Anambra State just so that they can blackmail us for writing things that Peter Obi did not like. So he will hide under people. Some of the things that you are saying, the insult and he approves it. The only time he got uncomfortable with it and he had to caution people was
network. Oh my.
these people told us like, hey, let's change strategy. Don't go and be insulting my leader. But I'm just giving you an example of how much I know so many of these guys. I have worked to help him get justice before. And I've also had cause to report against his misgovernance in Anambra State. And he had reacted by fighting back, accusing me of something I did. I still have the posters today, by the way. I still have them in my possession. They had it pasted all over. They weren't happy. So when they're not happy with you, they go extra length. So I'm not surprised that his campaign is based on this aggressive. But I love aggressive campaigners because I'm very aggressive too when it comes to campaigning. So, but if you are using your strategy, don't fault my own, because the goal is for us to defeat each other, right? And I guarantee you that we'll defeat them. We know what to do.
Well, from Mr. Omoyele Sowore, thank you much for gracing this interview once more, and I wish you all the best as events continue. Bye for now.
Mr. Abiodun Akinyemi, a man who is looking to solve the big chunk of the housing crisis that we have in Nigeria by making affordable, self-sufficient homes. This kind of homes are becoming more and more popular, by the way, because they are efficient and they are environmentally friendly, and then it costs less to make them if you think about it in the long run. Anyway, before I tell you about the smart homes that he's building, let me tell you a little bit about his story. He's based in Canada right now, and he decided to build a house in Lagos, Nigeria, where he's from. But upon making inquiries, the cost of building a house has increased significantly since he moved to Canada. So instead of using concrete brick throughout his construction, he substituted it with laterite, and he was able to save 30% of the construction cost. Laterite has a lot of advantages, by the way, including warming your home during the cold weather, cooling your home in the hot season. It's cheaper because it's readily available. It's everywhere in Nigeria. It has high clay content, which means it can hold more water. Laterite gives you better air quality. So if you build your house with laterite, you can breathe in better air quality. You can even recycle it. So if you build a house with laterite and you don't like it, you can break down the house and use the brick to build another house. And that's just to name a few of the advantages. But he didn't stop at building his personal house. He decided to make his house self-sufficient, off-grid, which means that he's not going to be dependent on the electricity from the Nigerian government. So he's using solar power, and he's also not going to be using power generator, so there will be no noise, no air pollution. At the same time, he's not using the regular sockaway that everybody uses in Nigeria. He's disposing his own waste material by decomposing it, and he's generating his own water. So once the house is completed, he doesn't need anything from them. And this is why they call this home self-sufficient, off-grid homes. That alone inspires me. The fact that he was able to find an alternative to just spending so much money on building a house. And the fact that he doesn't have to depend on the government, he made himself a self-sufficient house. That is the inspiration for me. But then he took it a step further. So after learning from his own experience, he wants to do the same for others, except that he wants to do it better. If you see the picture of the house, you may not be too impressed by the aesthetic, but he calls this the experimental house, because what he has decided to do is to now mass produce this kind of house for other people. In case anybody out there is interested in having a house that will be self-sufficient, he has bought acres of land in Lakeway Beachfront in order to construct an off-grid estate. And what you guys constructing. All these houses will not be using NEPA, and they will be constructed with laterite bricks. If anyone is interested, he's looking for 10 people, just 10 people to start out. The price starts at 34 million naira for 3 bedrooms, and you can pay in installments. He has a contract readily available, readily prepared, which you can share with your lawyer to know if that's a good deal or not. I mean, some people may feel like that